Trump will leave America with one of the worst economic status in history. In fact, they said he's leaving with a really bad economic record. And I believe it. So this is CNN Politics. I'm going to go ahead and play this video for you.
The world is turning its back on globalization, free trade, and multilateral institutions, or at least that is the conventional wisdom. Inspired by the nationalism and protectionism of Donald Trump and spurred on by the COVID-19 pandemic, politicians and commentators talk of bringing home supply chains and bolstering domestic production. Even without Trump, the thinking goes, this shift is likely to endure. But how then should we make sense of a seismic event that took place a few weeks ago with almost no discussion in the United States? In a virtual ceremony on November 15th, 15 Asia-Pacific countries signed the world's largest free trade pact, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. The signatory states account for 30% of global GDP. That's larger than NAFTA or the European Union. Many of the same nations had also signed 2 years earlier another big free trade pact called the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which also included Canada, Mexico, Chile, and Peru. The United States, of course, had spearheaded the Trans-Pacific Partnership, but Donald Trump withdrew the United States and sat idly by while the rest of the Asia-Pacific barreled ahead with integration. Far from pivoting to Asia, as Barack Obama called for, America has pivoted inwards. That, of course, is entirely in keeping with Trump's professed economic nationalism. He campaigned for the presidency, vowing to address what he saw as the scandal of America's trade deficit, which to him was the greatest symbol of the country's disastrous policies. But in fact, under Donald Trump, the trade deficit has gone up and up. It is now on track to reach its highest level in 12 years. By any measure, Trump's trade policies have failed. He promised to bring manufacturing jobs roaring back. In fact, the percentage of jobs in manufacturing has stayed roughly the same since he came into office. He claimed that foreign countries like China and Mexico would pay for his tariffs. In fact, many studies show that American consumers have footed most of the bill. He promised that China would buy many more American goods. In fact, they are importing less from America than they were in 2017. What jobs have been preserved have come at a staggering cost. According to the Peterson Institute, for every job saved in the steel industry through Trump's tariffs, U.S. businesses and consumers have had to pay $900,000 per job. Were Trump to have saved more American jobs this way, he would have bankrupted the country. The pandemic, far from making the case for onshoring, actually shows its dangers. When COVID-19 hit, countries around the world faced severe shortages of vital items, from face masks to cotton swabs. Thanks to foreign producers, most of these demands were met within a few weeks or months. The vaccine race is a massive global endeavor involving scientists, technicians, and manufacturing facilities across the world. It would be inconceivable to develop and produce billions of vaccine doses without global supply chains. Some have suggested in the face of this pandemic that the US should onshore production of key medical supplies. But how do we know which ones to prioritize? What if the next global crisis comes in the form of a non-airborne disease or a tsunami? We would have subsidized huge industries only to find that we were fighting the last war. It makes sense to maintain some strategic reserves of medical supplies. It's also wise to ensure that the US is not totally dependent for any key product on one country, especially China. But taking...
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can hear, that Trump is really leaving the country in worse shape than when he came in. So they said alone among 13 presidents since World War II, Trump will exit the White House with fewer Americans employed than when he started. He have overseen, economic growth output, and I mean, look, they're even saying the wartime presidents in the past have done better than him, even with the loss of life during a war. Because, back then, a war actually generated more money into the economy. So Trump came into office with the slogan American First, but he failed to restore the old economic engine that powered an earlier era prosperity. On Trump's watch, industrial production fell. The Federal Reserve says the manufacturing sector fell into recession in 2019, even before the coronavirus pandemic. Last week was the 38th in a row in which 700,000 Americans filed first time claims for unemployment. Holiday season lines at food banks dramatized the scale of human suffering. More abstract measures, such as the US trade deficit and ratio of government debt to the size of the economy, has also worsened under Donald Trump. Trump's economic record ranks near or at the bottom compared with other presidents, concludes Moody's chief economic Mark Zandi, who compared the economic results of all presidents from the last 70 years. The economy under his watch has performed very poorly. To be sure, the deadliest public health pandemic in a century has devastated the economic activity during the last year of the president's term. But responding to unexpected catastrophe, from hurricanes to terrorist attacks to civil unrest to financial crisis, represents a big part of the job. And Zandi notes Trump's bungled the corona response and exacerbated and extended damage to jobs and output. So, ladies and gentlemen, they said the Trump, on an economic scale, his presidency has been detrimental to the American economy. Wow. He's not leaving with a very good track record. But, there's still people in this country that want him to continue to be the president. And they're out there protesting and saying they want him in, and Joe Biden stole the election and all that stuff. But Trump is leaving the country with a lot of debt. And very little work was ever done to resolve things prior to even COVID. If you remember, Donald Trump had a lot of drama going on at the White House during his time there. It was always some kind of drama going on, and it was an endless amount of drama going on about his taxes. And I mean, let's be real. If a man can't manage his taxes, his own personal businesses and taxes, what makes you think he can manage a big country like America's economy? He can't. So the fact that he's leaving with the worst economic record of all time, I don't think anybody should be shocked over that. But I'm sure his supporters are going to be butt sore over this video, y'all. And I'm sure they'll be over here slipping, talking about the election being stolen and all that. Now, I could see if he really left the country in good shape, he leaves the country in historically bad shape. But y'all, please tell me what you think. It don't matter. One thing I can honestly say, when it comes down to our community, nothing changes for us, whether it's Trump or Biden. Our life will still be the same. Nothing is going to change for us. Really don't matter who's in there. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.